Hey everyone, welcome back to another Saturday afternoon live stream. Well, it's Saturday afternoon for me here in North Carolina, but it could be morning for where you are, or could be late afternoon or evening. So welcome wherever you're from. Thank you for being here. It looks like we already have 7 viewers and 3 likes, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you would be kind enough to let me know if the audio and video looks and sounds okay. Do I need to adjust the mic? Let me know. So we're back. We had a little hiatus last weekend because the wife and I met up with some cousins that came up from Florida, and we met halfway in Savannah, Georgia, and we spent the weekend there, a couple of days, and had a nice time. Weather really cooperated, so we were happy about that. Weather's not so great today and this week. In fact, right now it's raining out and raining pretty heavily. And if you notice, I'm actually wearing like a zip-up fleece liner because it's cold in the studio. And the studio temp right now is set to 77 degrees, but for some reason, with the the colder weather outside, the dank weather from the rain, everything seems a little bit more chilled. So in any event, here we are. We're back again. Looks like we have 11 people here in the chat. Let me go over and begin to greet folks as they pop in. So Grish is here. Welcome, Grish. And yes, Grish, you had the #1 spot again. Jeremy has the #2 spot. He says, unfortunately, I may miss chunks of the stream as I'll be working. Hopefully it's slow enough that I can still listen while I work. Yeah, I don't know that it's going to be anything earth-shattering. We got a couple of topics lined up for today, but yeah, hopefully you can catch some of it. Sorry I missed your members-only stream last night, Jeremy. I checked for it about 8:30 because I remember you sent an announcement out earlier in the week, but I didn't see anything. Maybe because it's a member stream, it wasn't scheduled, but I should have seen it. So anyway, I will watch the replay on that when I get a chance. Okay, Grish is giving me the thumbs up. Mr. Tim Tech, afternoon, Tony, and everyone joining in. Good evening, Tim. I believe it's evening for you in the UK. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Grish says 5x5. Awesome. Thank you, Grish. Terrell's here. Hello, Terrell. Welcome. And Terrell says also 5x5 here. Great. Awesome. Andre is here. All good. Welcome, Andre. Glad to have you. Appreciate it. Tim says, looks good, sounds great. Guys, I appreciate that. Rain sounds like England. Yeah, well, we're in the midst of a storm right now. I will pop up the latest storm graphic that I downloaded this morning in a minute, just to show you what's going on here on the southern east coast of the United States. Irfan, thank you for being here. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Irfan Sima. And if not, I apologize. But thank you for being here. And Jeremy says, just popping in. So, okay, great. We have 11 people here and 5 likes. So, guys, if you could hit that like button, it kind of helps out the channel a little bit. Also lets me know whether or not you like what I'm doing. So, okay, let me bring this up on the screen, kind of give you an update of what's going on here the last couple of hours and the next couple of days. So we have this situation happening right now. This was as of 8 a.m. this morning. And right now we have a potential tropical cyclone, and it's going to potentially take the name Imelda if it actually turns into a hurricane. But you can see the track, and if you look at this big red circle right here, that's pretty much encompassing the South Carolina and southern North Carolina coastline. So, and this where it says Wilmington, that's pretty much, if this holds true by Wednesday and it stays either a tropical storm or a Category 1, it won't be too bad. But if it hits landfall, anything stronger than that, we're going to be in for an interesting couple of days. So this is what's happening right now, and the next couple of days are going to prove to see what happens. Now, also, if you're following the news, there's also Umberto out here, which I believe out in the further east is also a Category 3 at this point, but they're saying it's just going to turn up away from the United States coast and go north. So, but we got both of those things brewing out in the Atlantic Ocean right now. So we'll see how things go. But yeah, so that's what's happening right now. All right. So I'm not sure how the weather is in where you guys are around the country and outside of the country, but that's what we're dealing with right now. So, okay. So I think the last live stream, it was brought up that have I heard anything about Synology backing down on their drive lock situation, and we talked about that briefly during that last stream. What I have heard this week, they're kind of in the buzz scene again, in the news again. They, let me just bring this up. That's why I have the poll going. In fact, if you haven't answered the poll, let's see, we got 10 votes. There's 11 people here. So we have 10 votes, and the poll is the fact that they are discontinuing transcoding on the Synology devices. Is that a deal breaker for you? So 70% say no right now, and 30% say yes, it is. So we'll leave that poll running a little longer. If you haven't voted in the poll, please do so if you so choose. But let me bring this up on the screen and just go over a couple of things with you that I kind of found out this week after watching a couple of videos. So let me flip over to the main part of the screen. So this week, the stir is the fact that not only have they talked about the discontinuation of HEVC and transcoding on DSM and B station, with the HEVC, it's more of a licensing thing where they didn't want to pay. I'm sure Synology didn't want to pay the licensing. But now they've actually taken this a step further on their 2025 models. They've actually removed the drivers. So even though the hardware itself is capable of transcoding, it's not going to be available because they removed the drivers, and they at some point made it like really difficult and virtually not possible to install the drivers back yourself. Except, you know, there are always folks out there that are hacking around and coming up with workarounds. But this is what's been buzzing around this past week. So if you look here, and by the way, I took these screenshots out of a video that I saw earlier in the week by Naz Compares. Here he was talking about the fact that this is the CPU and the RAM with the transcoding happening without the actual drivers, and you could see up to 94% and 81%. So a gentleman by the name of David, and I don't know who David is, and I'm pretty sure it's not David Grishko or David PE for Doers, or very well could be. So, but anyway, a gentleman by the name of David came up with a script that's posted on his GitHub page, and I have the link for that here. I'll just take you through what it is, and then if you're interested in the link, well, I'll drop it down in the chat anyway. So he came up with this workaround where as you download the script and then you actually place it into a shared folder on the NAS, and then you can run the script either via SSH or through the Synology task manager or task scheduler. And here he's showing he's enabling it to run at every startup or every reboot during through the task scheduler. And here's obviously, and he's defining the script. He's putting the path to the script here. So what happens is, realistically, they found a workaround to put the drivers back, but obviously with a reboot or an update, it's going to obviously break that. So by running it through the task scheduler like this, running the script through the task scheduler, it will put back the necessary drivers. So it's a bit of a headache, but it is a workaround. So yeah, they made the news again. And then of course, you know, when you go to save, you're getting the warning message here that basically says, you know, modifying the system configurations, running external executables, or installing unauthorized third-party applications with root permission may result in unexpected system behavior or even data loss. And basically, you know, it's also saying that if you're having problems with your NAS, there's no guarantee that if you do this, that Synology support is going to help you if you ever need to reach out to them. Plus, take into consideration, you know, how comfortable are you running a script from somebody you really, you know, don't know. So anyway, that seems to be what's been happening. Also, there's another gentleman, Luca from Black Void. He also has the steps to putting back the unlocking the transcoding and restoring the drivers on his website. So let me, before I forget, go ahead now and put the link to David's script in the chat, as well as the link to the step-by-step instructions from Luca from Black Void. So let me do that now so I don't forget, and then we'll take a look at the comments. I just find it interesting. You know, I do use Plex, and transcoding, I like the fact that I have it. But really, more than transcoding being the deal breaker for me, the deal breaker is a hard drive lock, more than the transcoding, to be totally honest. But anyway, copy. Actually, that should have been my poll. My poll should have been transcoding or the hard drive lock, which is more of a deal breaker for you, or something to that effect. All right, so there's David's script, and here's the link to Luca's page. I see some conversation going on in the chat about this. I'm curious to get there and take a look. So let's see what the chat is saying. Chris says, I never transcode anything, but still, hearing this is disappointing. It should be illegal for features to be stripped retroactively post-purchase. Yeah, and again, originally, prior to the 2025 models, they were, you know, it was more of a licensing thing, but now they've just pretty much made it so that the new 2025 models won't work. But they did announce this prior to the 2025 models coming out. Morning, Jason. Glad to have you here. Welcome. SB says, I look at it this way. If they seem to be moving away from their base, making too many changes without being upfront. Now I question, what else are they planning to change? Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Grish says, this is why I'm using pure hardware NAS like Ugreen and then putting Proxmox on it. Yeah, and a lot of people are doing that. They're using Ugreen and throwing on True NAS, or rolling their own of some flavor. And Jason agrees with Grish. And then here's the script. If you are using Synology and you are okay with doing this, and here Terrell is saying he's agreeing with Grish. Just remove going forward, but got to remember you don't buy anything anymore. You rent. Yeah, for sure. And here's the Black Void, the link to the Black Void website with the step-by-step process. And then David is saying, I think the U.S. should have some basic consumer laws, 5 years security updates for any digital product. You cannot take features away post-purchases or introduce a paywall for something you own after the fact. Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. You're not going to get an argument from me here on that, David. Those are all valid points. So anyway, so that's kind of what led me to the poll for the live stream, and we are at 69% no and 31% yes. We have 13 votes so far. We have 18 people here, 18 likes. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. So yeah, let's see what else we got. I see a few more popping in here. Mr. Tim Tech says, really wonder why Synology are doing all these backhand things. Yeah, who knows, you know? And I tell you, Ugreen is really capitalizing on it, and so are the content creators that are putting out YouTube videos, because they are stressing when they cover it. And you can use any manufacturer hard drive. And I that's just like such a indirect dig, but it's the truth. Like, they're not saying anything that's not true, but I'm loving it. I'm just like sit back taking it all in. Good morning, Cecil. Appreciate you being here. Hey, that's totally okay. That's what this is all about, right? Just a group of guys a group of folks. I shouldn't say guys, because there could be gals out there. Just a group of folks getting together, having a chance to share their thoughts. Surely must be driving customers away, alienating home labbers for sure. Do I think it's bothering corporate? Probably not, because corporate has the money to drop to them, whether they're going to pay, $275 for a hard drive instead of maybe it used to be, $199. I don't think that difference for corporate type dollars makes a difference, but they're surely seem to be affecting the home user, the consumer, small business. So anyway, that's a whole topic to itself. Good morning, Michael. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Thanks for joining. Cecil says, I use Plex on a dedicated server. I'm telling you, I've been using Plex on Synology for, actually, believe it or not, on the Synology DS216+2, which is now an old device, which I recently took out of everyday service. I had been running Plex on that flawlessly for all those years, and I just moved everything over. I think I mentioned it in the live stream. I moved everything over to the DS920 Plus, and I'm running Plex off of there now. But honestly, I've been seeing a lot of videos on the Ugreen built-in media server, and I tell you, it looks, in fact, Tim, I saw your video on it, and that video made me really sit and think, maybe I should throw everything on the Ugreen media server and give that a whirl for a while, and then just, if I like it, just bye-bye Plex, because it just seems so straightforward and simple. So that might be something I do in a couple of weeks, even if I keep Plex running in parallel, or run the Ugreen media server in parallel with Plex for a time being. It just was very intriguing to see how simple but yet fast, snappy it was. So yeah. Terrell says, seems like Synology is digging their own grave with general users. Yeah, Terrell, that's kind of where I'm at with that as well. Chris says, home labbers bring the product into the workplace. Yep, I know where you're going with this. It's what VMware did with IT education, how it got so popular. Yep. No argument, no disagreeing. Jason says he's talking back to Grish. Same with Untangle, but that went to poop. So, yeah. Anyway. All right. Good conversation on that. Thanks, guys. 21 people here. 9 likes. Appreciate it. Let's see. Should we leave the poll running? We got still 13 volts. 13 votes. Boy, that's strong coffee. 13 votes. We'll leave it running for a while. We have 21 people here. So come on, everybody, weigh in and also hit that like button for me. Appreciate it. So, okay. Real quick, I added this morning. Wasn't really originally part of the plan, but let me just pop it up on the screen real quick. Bring this up here. Not going to spend a lot of time on it. This is just kind of more like a PSA, informative thing. So, Grandstream updated the firmware for the GCC 6010 and the GCC 6020, and I really wasn't aware of it, and I should have been, but I wasn't aware of it until I got an email from my GCC 6020 saying that some of the signature updates could not be downloaded or installed because I need to update to the latest firmware. And I had updated my GCC 6020 to the beta version 1.0.7.32 when that came out, immediately when that came out, and I haven't had any issues with it. And realistically, I guess they made some minor changes. There was a 1.0.7.44, which 1.7.0.7.46 looks to be, these changes here, the changelog looks to be exactly what they implemented in the .32 beta. So, I mean, it says zero tier, the firewall file type extensions. That was all in the beta. I believe they added the VLAN support for the static IP binding. Again, that was all in the beta. So maybe one or two things might be new, but what I'm taking away from this is the beta went and became final now, and it's a stable release. So for those of you running a GCC 6010 or a GCC 6020, they have actually moved everything to a standard release. So anyway, that's that on that. What I was hoping that they would have done in that release was added support for that new GWN7062E series. They would have added it to the GCC series so that they can manage those switches. They're still not in the like, they don't show up in the GCC if you try to adopt them. So, and I'm assuming that's coming because the 7711 series is in there. So I'm assuming it's just a future firmware update. So anyway, Tim says, did mine yesterday, working well so far after 24-ish hours. Yeah, I updated the GCC 6020 this morning before the stream, and I also updated the 6010 lab machine that I'm using for testing here in the lab. Hello, Pedro, welcome. Cecile says, does the Ugreen media server allow remote viewing? That's a good question. I haven't played with it yet, Cecil, but Tim, I don't know if you know the answer to that. If you want to weigh in, that's fine. Since I think you played with that and set it up. And if not, Cecil, I'll get back to you on that. I haven't done a video on high availability, David. No, I have not. I'm not sure if Willie has or has talked about doing it, but I have not, because I know with Let's say for the UCM series, I know you have to have 2 of the exact same units in order to do high availability. So to answer your question, yeah, it's no, just a simple no. Let's see. How is the poll doing? Let's take a look over at the poll. Poll has 16 votes now, and still the no's are winning. 56% no, 44% yes. Okay, we'll keep it running. 17 people here, 12 likes. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Tim says, I think so. This is in regards to the media server remote viewing. I think so, but also not tried it yet. Okay, cool. All right. That's that. And I love how I have all this high-tech equipment all around me, like here. And yet, I keep my notes for my live stream. Pen and paper. That's my generation. That's just a generational thing. All right. So, let's do the giveaway now. And then I did want to play a little bit live with the PPSK setup because I want to do a video on that next week, and I figured it'd be a good way to play around with it, and if I have any pitfalls, let them happen in the live stream, not while I have to try to record the video on borrowed time. But let's do the giveaway. Then I was also playing with something else this week that was really, really cool. And then my deck update, and then we'll see where we go from there. All right, so let's do the giveaway. Now, a couple of things with the giveaway, or a couple of things to note. We had 23 entries, and the way Gleam.io works, I have no way, the way Gleam.io picks the winners, I have no way of concealing the winner's personal information, like their email address and their location where they live. If I did the actual drawing live. So what I decided to do was, in order to be able to keep a person's identity and personal information private, I pulled the winners prior to the stream this morning. It only closed last evening. So I pulled the winners this morning, but I recorded it as if I was recording a video. So you're seeing the whole thing recorded as if I would do it live, except the advantage of recording it and just playing the recording now for you in the stream is that it gave me the opportunity to take the footage, drop it into DaVinci Resolve, and blur out the email addresses, and also zoom in the screen so the locations were off the screen as well. So that said, I just want to let everybody know that the winners will be announced now in the stream, but it's pre-recorded in order to conceal personal identification. So here we go. And then we'll go back to the comments. So let me load that. And good luck everyone who entered. All right, everyone, it's time to select the winners for the GWN7062 giveaway. I have the 2 prizes here. We're going to pick 2 winners, but before we do that, let's switch over to the Gleam interface. I just want to go over the rules with you one last time so we all know how this is going to work. Now, you should have read these before you entered, but we're going to review them anyway now. The entry period opened on September 6th at 12 a.m. and it ran until September 26th, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, which was last evening. You must be at least 13 years of age to enter. And regarding the prizes, if you reside in the United States, then you will receive one of these 2 devices. If you are outside of the United States, then you will receive a $25 prize via PayPal. Again, that was all posted on my YouTube page, so for the term of the registration period, but I just wanted to go over that now so that everyone, again, knows how this is going to work. So let's go over now to the winners page, and you can see we have 2 unpicked winners. So let's go ahead and click the green Draw Winners button. We have 2 winners to pick, 2 prizes to give out. We're not going to allow repeat winners. So I want to wish everyone good luck. I want to thank you all for joining a chance to win one of these 2 devices or a $25 prize. And again, good luck, everyone. Here we go. All right, we have our 2 winners. We have Mike Wichchow and Terrell Conkran. Congratulations, guys. I will reach out to you. Actually, I need you to reach out to me. I have your email addresses. I need you to reach out to me with your shipping addresses, and I will get these devices out to you. Now, if I don't hear from you within 7 days, then that's going to void your winning entry. So you have until, let's see, today is Saturday. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday by 11. That's 8 days. I'll give you 8 days. Saturday by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, I need to receive an email from you with your shipping address, and you will receive your prizes. So again, everybody, that takes care of the giveaway. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and let's get back to the live stream now. Okay, so again, congratulations, Michael and Terrell. I will get those units out to you as soon as I receive your shipping addresses. Now, Terrell, I have yours from the GWN order, so no need to have to email me. Mike, if you can get an email to me, if you're watching or watching this after the fact, get an email to me within the time period, I will get the GWN7062 out to you as well. I love how I said you have 7 days and I counted 8, but that's just typical Tony. But anyway, that did it for the giveaway. So everyone who won, congratulations. And let's go back and take a look at the comments. David's saying, I'm curious about the setup and requirements to get it working. I know with Unify and their shadow mode, it will work out one public IP address. Curious about GrandStream. Now, it's interesting. I was just talking with Willie about this. Yesterday, there was something came up in our group chat. I'm not, David, I'm not really 100% sure, but I don't think Willie was sure either. He caught him by surprise as well. But anyway, if I, chat with him more and I get more of an understanding about it or more of what, how it works, I will let you know. Hello, Chow. Your setup is amazing. You should do a video showing everything. I could. It would be one hell of a video, that's for sure. I'm not sure that I have the interest in the community to do a video like that, but you know what? Let me do this. Let's end. We have 17 votes on the Synology devices deal breaker question. So we have the no's win 59% to 41%. 59% of you here really don't care about the transcoding, or not that you don't care, but it's not a deal breaker. So we'll end that poll and we'll add another poll. We'll take Chow's suggestion. Should Tony do a video showing the gear in his studio and how it all works together? Question mark. Yes or no? Start the poll. Okay. Cool. Tim says can't beat paper. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it crashing. That's for sure. Terrell says, I will be joining the Grandstream family next week. My GWN7721 should be delivered on Wednesday. Well, Terrell, now you have a router to go along with that. The GWN7062E is a nice little device. I can't say it's the greatest router of all time, but for small studio, one-bedroom apartments, small boutiques, things like that, it's very, very good. It does not do VLANs, though, on the internal side, so that's something I'm not sure if that'll be added in the future. However, there is a feature to do VLANs on the WAN side, but it is also a great device for meshing. You can get 2 or 3 of them and mesh them together very easily, and it's a very cost-effective meshing solution compared to what I used to pay for Amplify HD years ago for a 3-piece system. So congratulations again on the win, Terrell. And Tim is saying, nice one. Grish is basically congratulating Terrell. Good. Morning, DJ Ware. Thank you for being here. Hope you are doing well. Yep, congratulations, Terrell. All right, Chow, we got the poll up there. We'll see what the results are. Congratulations to Terrell. Congratulations. Yep. Yes. Yep. I guess you put that in before I said what I said before I got through the comments. Yes. I'll just send it out to you, Terrell. No worries. In fact, but thank you for asking because it prompted me to remember, for Mike's sake, if he's here or not here, or if he's going to watch it later, I'll put my email address in the chat so that Mike could send me his information. You will have a second unit. Wonder how you... not sure, Grish, if you... I might be missing something here. Terrell didn't win both 7062s. One went to Mike, one went to Terrell. Oh, Chow, Mike, that's you. I didn't realize. Okay. Thank you. All righty. Very good. Appreciate it. Congratulations. All right. There's the email address for you, Chow. And hello, David. Welcome. Thanks for being here. All right. 18 people and 15 likes. Appreciate you all. And look at that. The giveaway is over and we still have 18 people here. Awesome. Okay. So, one of the things I want to play with, let me get this up here, is PPSK on the Grandstream setup. So let me get signed in. Let me switch over, I guess. What did I do? There we go. All right, so this is the GCC lab setup. All right, and what I want to do video on is setting up PPSK for different VLANs. So I know a lot of places will do it right down to the user level, but in a home user situation, I'm thinking, how would I use it here in my house if I were to implement it? Because right now I have a separate SSID for each VLAN. I have my trusted network. I have my separate SSID for my IoT. I have a separate SSID for my guests. I have a separate SSID for my camera network, for my VoIP network. So if I were to implement PPSK in my home. For those of you who aren't familiar, PPSK is private pre-shared key. It allows you to use one SSID or one Wi-Fi network and have multiple passwords. And based on the password that you use to sign into that one network will put you on the appropriate VLAN or subnet. So that said, how would I implement it in my house? I would probably do it broken down by VLAN because I wouldn't, like, say, want to do it by user kind of deal, not in a home situation anyway. So that said, that's what I want to typically tinker around with here. So in my head, I'm thinking I need to add a couple more VLANs. So if I come over to the network settings, come over to the LAN. Now I already have my trusted network and my guest network. Those, again, this is the lab GCC. So these are the networks I've used in the last couple of videos with the captive portal and all that. So if you haven't checked out the captive portal video, check it out. I thought it came out pretty good. Even if I have to say so myself, it's not performing that well, which I'm a little surprised. But overall, from a content standpoint, I thought the video was pretty decent. So what I'll do is I'll add a couple more VLANs here. We'll add an IoT VLAN, we'll add a camera VLAN, and we'll add, I don't know, a VoIP VLAN. Again, this is all for demonstration purposes. So let's go ahead and get the VLANs added. So we'll go VLAN 30, and we'll call this one IoT. I will come down to IPv4 and we'll give it 192.168.30.1. Let me copy the first part of that. We'll give it the subnet mask of 255.255.0. We'll enable the DHCP service so that we could distribute IPs. And then we'll give the gateway address .1, and we'll give the range the whole thing. So .2 all the way up to 254, that's fine. And it'll come down to the DNS servers, and we'll do .1 and then a public. And we'll go ahead and we'll say save. Let me do two more. Actually, let me just do one more for the sake of speed for this demonstration. Let's do IoT. What else did I say? IoT, guest, camera. Let's do camera. So we'll make camera 40. We'll call it cams. Same thing. Enable IPv4. Let's paste this in and then just change this to 40. .1, copy, again, the same subnet. DHCP, gateway, and then we'll go, again, we'll give it the whole range. Although I'm not going to have that many cameras, obviously. Who would have that many cameras in a home setting? So let's not do the whole range. Let's go with, let's say .20. And then we'll come down and we'll do DNS server again, and we'll do the alternate. Okay. All right, so now that I have the additional VLANs in, we can get over and work on creating the Wi-Fi and the PPSK. So let's come over to the Network Nodes tab. And one thing I do want to check is over if I come to switch management, I just want to make sure that the two VLANs that I just added carried over to the switch. Theoretically, that's the whole idea of the convergence series, but sometimes it gets a little funky. So let's come over and get right into the switch directly and see if the VLANs are there. Okay, and we'll come over now. We're in the switch itself. We'll come over to switching and VLANs. Okay, so VLAN 30 IoT, VLAN 40 cams, and tagged the 2 ports on the switch properly that needed to be tagged. So that worked, so we're good there. Every once in a while, it will carry over the VLANs, but not tag the ports appropriately. So it did tag the ports appropriately, so that's a good thing. Okay. Let's come up now to Wi-Fi management. Now that we have the VLANs created, let's go up to Wi-Fi management. And again, these are two SSIDs that I used in previous videos. If you didn't have any here, you could just get started. So let's just create the Wi-Fi that we'll use for the PPSK setup. So you can disregard these, make like they're not here. I mean, I could actually use the trusted, but I don't want to change it right now. So let's just add a new one. We'll enable it, and I'll call this YouTube PPSK Wi-Fi. I'm not going to associate it with a VLAN. I'm going to leave the SSID band set to 2.4 and 5. However, just keep in mind that if you are planning on using it for IoT, it might create some problems for you. Like I know I created an IoT VLAN a few steps ago, but this is where I think having a separate IoT VLAN, a separate IoT SSID is beneficial, not to be used in a PPSK setup, because the older smart devices have a problem with 5G. Even if the 2.4 is being broadcast, if the older device senses the 5G being broadcast on the same band, on the same like Wi-Fi network, sometimes those older devices just will not show up and will not connect. But for the purpose of this video, talking about PPSK, I'll just leave it. And then we'll come down to access security mode. We can leave it at WPA2, that's fine. But under the key mode, we want to select PPSK without radius. You have the option of doing it with the radius server if you happen to have one, but we're going to do it without radius here. And then I believe that's it. The device should be selected automatically. I don't think I'm missing anything. All right, so let's go ahead and say save. Okay, so we have the actual Wi-Fi created now. Let's come over to the left menu now, and now let's create the PPSK. So let's click the add button. This should be pretty simple. So from the drop down here, we need to select the Wi-Fi network or the PPSK that we want to use. So the PPSK Wi-Fi network that we want to use. So we'll say YouTube PPSK Wi-Fi. Now the accounts here, you could pretty much put anything alphanumeric. I believe because we're not using radius, I believe if we were using radius, you have to put the radius account server here. If anyone knows that for sure, Jason, if you've done this already, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that's just for when you're using radius. But here I could just literally put main for the main Wi-Fi, and we'll do 1 through 9. For the password. I'll show it to you. It doesn't matter because I'm going to delete this after the stream probably. The number of clients, let's just say 25. I'm not going to limit the upload or the download, and I'm not going to assign it a VLAN ID because I want when you put in password 1 through 9, I want you to be able to connect to the trusted, in this case, network. So we're just going to go ahead. I can call this main Wi-Fi or whatever. Here we go. Save. And we have our first PPSK created. So we just got to do this again now, I believe, just to add the VLANs to the separate PPSK accounts. So SSID, it's going to be the same YouTube PPSK. And then here we'll call this IoT. And the password for this, I'll make all ones, 9 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll show it to you that it's all ones. And then we'll just say, I don't know, 50 clients. Let's do this. Let's limit the upload. Let's try that. Let's limit the upload to 5 and the download to 10. And now here we're going to associate this with the VLAN 30, which was the IoT network. And then I'll just call this IoT. One more time for the camera network. PPSK, we'll call this cams. Those of you who have done this before with the Grand Stream, let me know if I'm missing a step. I'm just going to give this 9 2s. And we'll just say 20 cams like we did earlier. Not going to limit the bandwidth, upload or download, and we'll call this, we'll attach it to VLAN 40, which was the camera VLAN, and we'll say save. We'll give that all a few seconds to kind of generate or populate. I'll go back to the comments now, and then we'll see, we'll test it out and see if we can get it working. All right, so back to you guys. I hope that was on screen. I think I was up on screen. All right. Well, I'm sure you'll let me know if I wasn't. I was just curious what Terrell will be doing with the one product replaces. Oh, I got you, David. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I didn't know if you were thinking he won both. Yes, Terrell. I actually, at home here, I use on-premise. I'm not using the GWN manager. I'm using the GCC 6020 to adopt and manage all of my switches and all of my, well, not the access points yet because I'm still running Wi-Fi 5, but when I upgrade down the road, I will actually bring the access points and adopt them to the GCC. Right now I have a GWN7630 as the main access point, and I have 2 other access points adopted to the GWN7630. But I also use, but I do use the cloud portal. I use GDMS to manage my client sites, so it makes that a lot easier. I was using PPSK with GWN7672 and was putting users on the default VLAN once they disconnected and reconnected. Mike, I think you mentioned that last week or 2 weeks ago. I haven't implemented it here at home, but I do have one client that I have it implemented in. But I did it through the cloud. I did it through GDMS, and I haven't had any issues with that. So we'll find out. You know, we could test it out here today. Let's see if I'm getting the same symptoms that you are. Hey, Alonzo. Welcome. Alonzo, I showed this clip earlier. Let's see if I still have it. Do I still have it? Yeah, I do. I showed this clip earlier, Alonzo. Hope you're getting prepared. Looks like we're right in the heart of it, Alonzo, between South Carolina and North Carolina. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Terrell's saying hi to Alonzo. David, I was on the screen the whole time. You didn't see any of the configuration? Is that what you're saying? Ah. If that's the case, ay. All right, let's go back. I'm not going to do it again, but I'm just going to walk you through what I did. Oh, holy Christ. All right. All right, let's come back in. I started here. I started in the Network Nodes tab. I came to Network Settings, to the LAN settings, and I added the other 2 VLANs here. Okay. once I added these two VLANs, I thought this, if I didn't have this on the screen, guys, I'm sorry. Someone should have just either pinged me via Signal or something. So I created the two VLANs, then I came over to the Networks Nodes tab. I checked to make sure the VLANs went over to the switch, which they did, and the ports were tagged correctly. Then I came up to the Wi-Fi management. I created the SSID to use with the PPSKs, which is here, and just show you in here under the key mode, you have to change it from PSK, it defaults to PSK, to PPSK without radius. So we did that. And then I came down and I created the 3 PPSKs, one for the main network with the password of 123456789. I did not assign a VLAN to it because I said I wanted people who use that 1 through 9 password to get on the trusted network. And then for the IoT network, I created PPSK, attached it to VLAN 30 here, and used the password of just all ones for this demonstration so that you use that password, you get on the IoT network. And then the same thing for the VLAN 40. I used all twos and attached it to VLAN 40. And hopefully, if I did everything correctly, this is the first time I'm configuring it using the GCC, hopefully everything will work. So I apologize if you were just looking at a headshot the whole time. I thought you were seeing the actual configuration. So Mike says, I use OpenSense router and not a GrandStream router, so maybe that is the issue. Yeah, I could be, Mike, but I don't know for sure. Oh, Tim, the config was on the screen. Okay. All right. Well, now he just got a summary of what I did. Thank you. Terrell says he's seen the configuration here. Okay, cool. Don't worry about it. Well, you know, I do stupid things like that. You know, I have a tendency to do, I mean, I admit it. You know, there's just so much going on here in this studio that it's like, oh, I forgot to switch camera view, you know? Yep. When I said you were on the screen, I meant the screen was shared. I didn't mean you yourself. Yeah, this is what I thought you meant, David. I thought you meant I was on the screen and you missed the entire configuration. So, anyway. All right. Now, let's see if this actually worked. Let me turn on. Hold on one second. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's see if this worked. Actually, somebody did ping me. Mr. Tim Tech. Config was on screen. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Let me see if I can make this happen now with the iPhone and show this to you. So go to screen sharing, Tony's Mac Studio. There's my phone. See, guys, I remembered what you taught me in the last live stream. All right. Let's see now if the PPSKs work. Let's go over to Wi-Fi. Let's see if the YouTube PPSK Wi-Fi shows up. Sometimes it takes a while on this phone. Guess Wi-Fi. There it is. It just showed up at the bottom here. Okay, so YouTube PPSK. I'll enter the 1 through 9 password, so it should put me on the main network. Join. And if I get the check mark, hopefully I'll get an IP address in the 80 range. Yep, 192.168.80.129. So that's good. So now let's tell it to forget the network, and let's join it again as the IoT. Let's see if it's, give it a, there it is again. It showed up. It's cooperating. Sometimes it does not cooperate. All right, so now this was all ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Join. Okay, we got the check mark. We should be in the 30 VLAN. 192.168.30.64. Okay, so that works. So theoretically, then, we should be able to do a speed test and see if the rate limiting, if the bandwidth limiting works. So, gateway. Okay, so, yep. So we did 10 down, and I believe we did 5 up. And don't forget, this is all, the router is double natted, and so we're getting what we put in pretty much. Okay, almost exact. 11 down and 11.1 down and 5.31 up. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go back. Let's forget the network. And let's join it as on the camera side of things and see if we get an address in the 40. We're just going to see, we just wait for them to pop up. And no internet connection on the PAL cameras is correct. That's, I have it set so my cameras can't access the internet. My actual cameras in production. All right, so let's go back to YouTube PPSK Wi-Fi, and this time we'll put in all 2s. And then, let me just count that again, I was talking. Then we'll go back and we'll test Mike's situation. We'll go back and connect to the main and see what happens. Okay, so it should have been 9. Okay, and we're in the 40 network, so 40.3. So that worked. Now let me just go back real quick. And what was Mike's comment again? Open Sense. I was using PPSK with the GWN762, and it was putting users on the default VLAN once they disconnected and reconnected. So you're saying, Mike, that if I were to forget this network, I'm on the camera VLAN now, and I tried to connect back to this same network, it was not putting you on the proper VLAN. It was putting you on the main network. Let's see if that happens. Okay, go down to the IP address and 192.168.40.3. So it is putting me back on the proper VLAN. And just for shits and giggles, let's go back and join the IoT network and see if we get the address in the 30. And this was all 1s. And we got 192.168.30.64. So, seems to be working correctly here, Mike. So honestly, I'm not sure what was going on. Have you reached out to Grandstream support at all? Okay. All right. So We still got 15 people here. That's pretty cool. 18 likes. Thank you, guys. Let's go down, see where we left off in the comments. The config was on screen. I see the config. Don't worry about it. Okay. Terrell's saying, with getting more IoT devices, I need to start playing with VLANs. Now, keep in mind, the GWN7062E is not going to let you create VLANs. So, but hey, you want a sweepstakes, it's free. My issue was I gave the PPSK to a guest network. They disconnected and came back, and they got on the default VLAN. Yeah, and I mean, I didn't test it with a guest network, but that was literally what I just tested, trying to get back onto the other VLANs. So they didn't forget the network, just logged off and onto a different Wi-Fi, came back and auto-connected to the Wi-Fi, and it put them on the default VLAN. I left a message on the Grandstream forums. Interesting. I'll be talking with Willie tomorrow morning because we are working on another collab. We're supposed to meet up tomorrow morning. I might just bring this up to him and see if he's got any, if he's had any issues with this. So, okay. All right. Bingo. Let's see. We've been live for an hour and 8 minutes already. Okay. Let's take a look at this poll. Should Tony do a video showing the gear in his studio and how it all works together? 92% yes, 8% no. Oh, well. We'll leave the poll running. We got 13 votes. David says, I think he's asking Mike, sorry I cannot type today. If you have many SSIDs on a 2.4 gigahertz network and the older 2.4 gigs NG are enabled, the beacons take up a lot of airtime. Okay. Alonzo, I use separate VLANs for IoT security, etc., with separate passwords. We'll give PPSK a try. And I do too, Alonzo. In my house here, I use separate VLANs for each, just like you. But I've been thinking about when I upgrade and I have to reconfigure everything on the Wi-Fi side, would I consider going with PPSK? And I may, just for the trusted network, the guests, and the camera VLAN. Actually, I won't even do the camera VLAN because I want to keep my camera VLAN from accessing the internet. So I may just do it for the trusted and the guests, and then actually create separate for IoT and separate for the cameras, because the cameras I don't want to access the internet. And like I said before with the IoT, if you have older IoT devices and you have that 5G band enabled, those older devices won't connect. So really I'd only be using PPSK in my home setup here for the trusted and the guest. Is it really worth it? What's one more SSID? But like, I guess when you're in corporate and you have lots of SSIDs is where it could become helpful. So using the newer access points, so maybe they have an issue. So I'm using that in this demonstration, Mike. I was using relatively new access point. I was using the 7665, not as new as the 7672, I think you said, but still relatively new. All right. So that's that. So probably be putting together a video on that and releasing early this week, since it seems to be pretty straightforward. Just got to promise me you'll watch the video, even though you saw the rough config. Extra reinforcement. All right. Been playing with Google AI Studio this week a little bit. Been using actual Chat GPT, OpenAI.com, to help me come up with thumbnail ideas. So the last couple of videos that I released, the thumbnails were the style was inspired by Chat GPT, and then I kind of futzed around with it in Photoshop a little bit. But then I saw a couple of people doing things with Google AI, something called Nano Banana. And I thought, that's cool. I want to play with it a little. So I'm going to switch over. We'll have a little fun, hopefully. And I have no idea. Now I have it on the screen, so I'm good to go. Let me drop the link to this, because if you do nothing else, it's just fun to play with. Let me drop the link to this in the chat. And I have no idea what results we're going to see on the screen, but we're going to just go for it and have a little fun. So I'm going to click on Nano Banana. Okay. What's going on? There we go. And I am going to drag in a photo of my, where's my mouse? A photo of myself from that I put together. Yeah, we'll acknowledge. And it's a transparent photo. I know it's showing black in the background, but it's a transparent photo. And I'm going to say, I played with this earlier in the week with this photo, and I had it create, I told it that I wanted it to put me in a Harley Davidson dealership, sitting on a Harley Davidson with a 3-pound black Chihuahua in my hand, in my arms, because my little Chihuahua is 3 pounds. And it remarkably created exactly what I was looking for. And then I said, well, up on the wall behind, put the name of the dealership. And it was like really mind-boggling. So I want to try something with the same image, but I'm not going to do the same thing. I'm going to say generate an image of this guy in a YouTube home studio with, let's say, mood, lighting in the background. Actually, let's do this. Generate an image of this guy in a YouTube studio, YouTube home studio, sitting at a desk looking at a camera. Include, and I honestly haven't tried this. I'm making this up as I go. Include shiplap. Is that how you spell that? Yep, shiplap. I'm going to put vertical, horizontal shiplap. Shiplap as the background. Light the background with, let's say, blue and orange mood lighting. Let's see what it does with that. I can't type today either, Grish. All right, here we go. Let's see what it does. And it'll also give you the time. Okay. All right, so there you go. Now, it did give me the blue and orange background, sitting at a desk looking at a camera. Okay. Let's see. Change the mood lighting to only light the lower half of the ship lap background. Change the guy's shirt color to red. Let's run this and see what it does. I'm just having a little fun now. We got 18 people here, 19 likes, so cool. By the way, whatever size photo you put in, that's the size it will produce. So this is a 1920 by 1080 image. If you put in a vertical, it'll keep the same ratio. It made that change in 7 to 9 seconds. It made the first image in 9.5 seconds. It did not lower the lighting like I asked, but it did change the color of my shirt. Now let's see. Interesting though, it did not change the color of my shirt in the camera viewfinder. Let's see if we can get it to do that. Change the color of the shirt in the camera viewfinder to red. It did it. Okay. So like I was just having fun with this. Let's do this. Let's remove the let's remove the goatee from, is that how you spell goatee? I don't even know. Goatee, there we go. From the guy. And make him a little skinnier. Let's see what we get. Did not do it. Okay. So obviously it's not perfect. But anyway, I was just having fun with this. Add a woman in the background by the behind the gentleman, and then we'll stop. It was just to give you an idea if you haven't seen this before. Sorry, I just have fun with this. All right, let's see if it actually puts the woman in there. Obviously, you could say with short hair or with whatever color hair, but let's see. There we go. Anyway, so let's go back to the comments. So let's see. Alonzo says, without a YouTube channel, I receive free gear to test from a startup, L.L.C Technology, a fork from Ray Networks. Interesting. And there's the link to the Google AI that I just showed you. Grish says, that's hilarious. Look at the pop filter for the SM7B. Yes, I was going to ask it to change the SM7B to an RE320 on a shock filter, on a shock mount. I should do that and see if it gets it. A pop filter in front of one. Yeah. AI added some weight. Yeah, I'm not that heavy. But nice. Alonzo says, nice. I like this. We'll try this AI. That's funny. Yeah, one last thing, guys, and then I won't belabor it anymore. Let me see if I can get it to change the SM7B with the shock filter to more of a mic similar to what I have here. So, I mean, I guess some things it can do, some things it can't. Let's change the woman's hair to blonde and make it shoulder length. Let's do that first. Okay, well, it changed her hair to blonde, but it didn't make it shoulder length. Okay, I bet you if I say give her short hair, give the woman short, I promise I'll get to the microphone after this, whether it does it successfully or not. Okay, so it did it. So I guess I gave it a compound command and it didn't understand it fully. So now she's got the short hair. Okay, change the microphone to an RE320 in a shock mount. Let's see if it does this. I don't know if that's too much. No. But what I am going to have it do is remove the pop filter. Let's see if it takes off the actual round pop filter on the boom arm or removes the pop filter on the actual SM7B itself. Ah, so it removed the pop filter. There you go, David. Is that better? So, all right. So a little fun. Still got 15 people here. We got 20 likes. Let's go ahead and close this poll. 14 votes. Yes, Tony should do a video showing all the gear in his studio and how it all works together. Okay. Sold. I will put that on my to-do list. All right. Grish says, oh, it looks like you guys are playing with it already. Alonzo says, made a new avatar for me. Cool. Grish says, looks like something we can use to make a profile pic for teams at work. Cool. You're right, Grish. You're right. It looks more like that other Shure. This is the SM7B. What's the other Shure microphone that looks similar, but it's got the shorter pop filter? I don't know. Let me look up real quick the Shure microphones and see if I can find the one I'm thinking of. Shure microphone. Let's see. This one here, the MV7X. I couldn't remember. I couldn't think of it. Yeah. So if we go back and look at, yeah, it's short like that, but obviously not. as short as the body here, but the pop filter part. Well, let's do one more thing. Make the SM7B pop filter slightly longer. And now I could tell I'm belaboring this because I'm down to 12 viewers. It made it fatter, not longer. Oh, gosh. Well, anyway, enough. That's awesome. All right. So let's see. We've been going for an hour and almost a half, an hour and 27 minutes. As far as the deck update goes, the only update I have to give you on the project is that there is no update this week. The guy... there's nothing to show you from the last time I showed you pictures. The gentleman was on vacation for a week. He got back on Tuesday, told me he was going to return to work on Wednesday, called me Wednesday morning, said he got home from New York feeling sick, so he was going to lay down for a while, woke up, went to the doctor, didn't feel good, so did not come on Wednesday, ends up did not come on Thursday or yesterday. Got a text. I mean, he was communicating with me, but, you know, he obviously wasn't feeling well. Got a text from him this morning saying, feeling much better. We'll see you on Monday, even if it's raining a little bit. Probably by Monday, it's going to be raining a lot. I'm not anticipating any more deck work getting done really until after we get through this pending storm. So hopefully next week, if the weather cooperates, I should have an update on the deck, but right now, nothing's changed. So, yes, what SFP modules do you use? Yes, the 10G Tech will work. That's what I'm currently using. I use Canva for my video cards. Probably don't need it now with Google AI. To be honest, unless I really want to put myself in the photo, in the thumbnails, which I used to, now I'm kind of getting away from it a little bit. I'm trying to do things so that YouTube starts to promote my content a little bit more, because I feel like I don't do bad content, and yet I doesn't seem like YouTube is pushing out my content the way it pushes out others. Like, I see some channels put out a video and within 10 hours they got 2,000-3,000 views. I could put out the same video and probably do just as good or maybe even slightly better, not from a content standpoint, but from a production standpoint. And for some reason, my videos don't take off. They lose traction pretty quickly. So I'm trying to do things like by not putting myself in the photo. I don't know if that's a deterrent. In the thumbnail, I don't know if that's a deterrent. Then I know Grandstream content is not as popular as Ubiquity and Unify, so I started to remove putting Grandstream, the word Grandstream, in the thumbnail. So I'm trying all different things to try to get a little traction going. I'm also trying to post a little bit more on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, and X, as well as some shorts. It seems to be helping a little bit, but I'm not getting the kind of traction and views that other channels my size are getting. So, but I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and I do get comments from people. I don't claim to be an expert. I claim to be just a teacher who wants to share what I learn with people. And I do get comments. I get wonderful comments. So, I mean, that make me feel like I really have helped people. So that's what keeps me going. So anyway, but I'm trying different things. Anyway, Tim, getting back to using Google AI for thumbnails, I haven't really decided if I'm going to use it for thumbnails. I was having a lot of fun with it this week. As you saw, I was having fun on the stream here, but it's more, I tried creating thumbnails with it and didn't really come up with anything that I liked, whereas ChatGPT was giving me some nice ideas for putting thumbnails together. So I still may stick with ChatGPT, maybe combine it down the road with this. But the thing with ChatGPT is you only get so many modifications to a thumbnail or to an image in one day. And then you have to wait until the next day because it's free, right? So anyway, so that said, David's laughing. I'm assuming because it made the pop filter fatter. Yep, Tim, go ahead and send them the Amazon link. That's good. He kept in communication with you. Yep. Just to say before you sign off, another fun, entertaining live stream. Looking forward to next. My content the same, Tony. Not many take off. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, as long as you enjoy it, keep going. Don't give up. No, I don't plan on giving up. It's just I wish I would see some of the results that others see. But it is what it is. And Alonzo says the quality of your videos are professional. I do appreciate that. Please do not chase numbers. They will come. Keep doing what you are doing. I appreciate that, Alonzo. So, I mean, I think this week I got a comment on a real uplifting comment. So, I mean, I feel like I'm making a difference, but to at least one or two people here and there. And I'm learning. And as I learn, I like to share. That's pretty much the bottom line. So, all right, I'm going to end the poll. Looks like 93% of you say I should do a video on my studio gear and my setup. The 7 of you who voted no, well, then don't watch it. What can I tell you? I'm just kidding. All right, so the poll is ended. There we go. And that's it, really. I am going to sign off for now. Enjoy the rest of my weekend with my beautiful wife. Everybody, I hope you have a good week. If you're in the line of the pending storm coming up the southern East Coast, please take the precautions you need to stay safe. And I hope to see you all here safely next Saturday. Again, congratulations to Mike and Terrell for winning the giveaway. And I will get those devices out to you as soon as I can. Thanks again, and have a great day, everyone.